Check, check. Ladies
Yeah,
and
yeah,
gentlemen, you know what it is. Hip Hop Mike live from the crib with a kid that I've been looking forward to speaking to for like forever. And y'all know I don't interviewed a lot of people, but like this kid actually I've been pretty nervous about talking to because I
for
feel like
sure.
he's just super woke and has a lot that,
Oh
you know, he
God.
can teach myself as well
Yo,
as
I
us.
know.
Matt Ox, yo.
Oh my God, what's up? What's poppin', bro?
Chilling, bro. How's everything?
I'm good, bro. I just been working in the studio every day,
Yeah?
cooking. Just focus on my creativity, you know.
You been able to get out at all?
Yeah, I've been out every day. Corona ain't stopping me. You feel me? Like, I don't care if I'm learning that, bro. Like, I'm with my people. You feel me? I'm with all the people in my studios and stuff. They on the movement. You feel me? They outside looting and stuff. All that. You feel me? And we with them. You feel me? We together with this. You feel me? No cap.
Nah, I
For
feel
sure.
that, man. Well, I definitely see you putting in his work, and you've been doing so for a minute now.
You already
Um,
know.
One thing that I love about you is I feel like you just in the future on everybody, man. Like
For sure.
a lot of your stuff is just so ahead of its time, musically, fashion wise, just like mentally,
Yeah,
and
appreciate it.
yeah, much love. If it's cool, I want to dive into some of it, man, because I feel
Definitely,
like
definitely.
to get to this point, like I mean, for me to even start being kind of woke, it took
Right,
like
right, right.
I'm about to be 30 this year.
No, I
Like,
know what you're saying. Yeah, 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 for sure. I feel like I'm gonna keep it a being like with me. It's a lot of people try too much. You feel me? And that's where it's like the best way to like do that type of consciousness, whatever you want to call it. You feel me? Is passionlessly. You feel me? More like just flow. You feel me? Because in all creative like divineness or whatever you want to call it, all artists that just have God like or like type energy in their music, it's from kind of the balance between holding on to yourself and letting go. You feel me?
Mhm.
Because you're not too attached to your ego. You feel me? Because it doesn't really exist except when you make it. So you could create like characteristics of yourself with certain types of energies and stuff, and it's like that self uh, awareness is what stopped a lot of kids. Like when you see a kid dancing or something when they like a baby, we like point it out like, yo, look at this kid dance. And then you try to get him to dance and stuff, and then he loses his magic. You feel me? And
Mhm.
pretty much through that is what creates whatever you want to call it, the unconscious collective or whatever. I don't know if you ever searched up Carl Jung, but
Yes,
I've been
sir.
very interested
You
into a
you
lot
put
of
me
that.
on, man. Him
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Ram Dass, not for
Yeah,
none.
yeah. You already know, bro. But for sure, that all of it is just like being a witness, pure witness of nature. You feel me? Like it's a way to be sane through all that type stuff. You feel me? It's just by being a pure witness of your thoughts, not judging it by good or bad, but just simply seeing the creativity in certain things we would consider work or serious matter. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
nah, it's important, man. I think to remove yourself from yourself in a sense and look at the
So,
big picture, it's like
yeah, it's important times right now, so we gotta make sure we use it. We do it playfully. You feel
back.
me? Yeah.
I just think it's so crazy because I mean, especially this day and age, right? With social media, with everything, the goal is to look like you have a lot without doing a lot. And it's
Right, right.
like the people that are just effortlessly getting this attention,
Mm-hmm.
effortlessly, you know, able to kind of become famous or
They're
whatever
the
it is.
ones that able to keep up with it a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
crazy.
exactly like the example you used, where it's like, you know, you got a kid that's kind of into dance. Went to fully evolve and become incredible at dancing, there's a freedom that has to happen. You know,
When
it
you
can't
in the dance, you're not working on the dance. You simply dancing. You with the dance. You move like that could be considered to like things we go through and like all that type of stuff. You feel
be.
me? And creativity is being in love with life, pretty much.
Do you learn this from when you started dancing? Like, does this like consciousness go back that far, or what kind
Yeah, I
of?
mean, yeah, all that is your whole life. Consciousness is life. You feel me? It's everything. You feel me? I say like ever since a jit, we all been in dances or like creative ways of playing in school and stuff. You feel me? And that all connects to just like how your worth ethic and all that type of stuff. You feel me? Definitely.
How do you feel like you work at something without giving it too much energy, like without compromising it? You know what
You
I mean?
kind of you because you ever heard how discipline can be enjoyable?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so you pretty much focus on like just fully engaging it. You feel me? Instead of calling it work, you fully engage in it and realize it's a type of play.
I gotta take this back a little bit. Where does this start for you? Like, where do you start learning this stuff? And is it like, like by yourself? Like, do you kind of seek this, or is somebody
Yeah.
kind of put you
At
on?
first, I seeked a lot of things, just like thinking. You feel me? Because we all have like a mind of our own that we think about what's happening and like what is all this about going on. You feel me?
Mhm.
So after I would think a lot, I would get myself into certain predicaments and like contradictions and stuff. You feel me? So I started becoming interested in like philosophy and about all types of stuff. You feel me? And through that, I just realized certain characteristics and behavior patterns about myself and other people that we all share type. You feel me? And through that, uh, it's like I see it through a creative standpoint now. In a way.
Able to kind of like translate it through your art.
Balance it out on some alchemist type time.
I love it. One thing that I thought was like super stood out for me, and I don't know if everybody would pick up on it the same way, but when I was younger, right, I used to go food shopping for this guy. He was like an older guy, was super scared to leave his crib, like was really just a homebody, and like I would go there, hang out with him, and help him out with stuff.
Right.
I heard the story of guess about Olga, and the woman
Yeah.
had a ton of cats. And
Yeah.
as a kid, I mean, a lot of my friends thought I was crazy. I'm hanging out with this older man, is
Right,
like,
right.
but he's kicking game to me.
No, yeah, you had that connection. No,
What was that?
everything, bro.
Because I can't think of any kids that's your age, man, with the attention that you get, with the creativity and being able to connect with all these people that are gonna remove themselves from that light and kind of go into a place that's more reserved.
Yeah. Well, yeah, facts. It's pretty much. I feel like it's possible. It's just our perspective on it. You feel me? Because how we looking at the kids right now, kids are small adults, pretty much. You feel me? And our perspective on it, or there was a quote. It was like, if you try to make a fish try to climb a tree, it's gonna think it's stupid its whole life. And it's a fact. You feel me? But to explain that to these children, you can't. It's like you can't restrict them in certain ways. You gotta make them feel open towards things, but see it in a different way,
For sure.
which give them better perspectives on things. That's the one thing. Some kid can have the same exact thing as another kid. You feel me? But one kid's like miserable about it, and the other kid's celebrating and grateful for what he got. You feel me? It's just uh, focusing your perspective on what you got instead of what you want. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken to heart judgments also. I think so many people are worried about how they looked at, whether it's like in school or work or, just in day to day, to not necessarily care about judgments, but really follow what your passions are, I think is
Yeah,
special.
yeah.
Why
Well, it's
music?
a vicious cycle of the mind. You feel me? And you just gotta let it be. You feel me? Just
Easier said than done though, bro.
no,
Like to just let
real.
it be, because instantly you wake up, a lot of times things creep into your mind, and
No,
that work of just being able to sit there and like meditate in a way, or even just evaluate how the day is gonna start on a vibe level is
so,
tough, man. Like,
so
do you ever wake up and having like a bad day? You have to go back to sleep and try again.
I do, but what I kind of did is like look at it purely as energy. You feel me? Because we could say I have a negative day, right? Or I'm having a positive day, but that is simply a concept that we're creating of what we're experiencing. You feel me? What we feeling, what we. So it's pretty much uh, to a perspective, things be like weird, twisted, all type like serious, all types of things. You feel me? But to another perspective of mine, at least I see it like the universe just a static that any type of energy that you live in. You feel me? And it's celebrating itself through all different forms of perspectives, thoughts, feelings, patterns, art. You feel me? Just like divine imagination, pretty much. That's
How
my
did you
look.
how do you not get caught up in a lot of the stuff that happens in Philly? Because I know Philly is a crazy place, especially if you're trying to get into music. It's very hard to avoid a lot of the shenanigans.
It's pretty much embracing and accepting what it is. You feel me? Now, for like fruit and filth, when you see filth, you accept it. You feel me? But when it's time to choose, you choose fruit. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, it's nothing you can really do about that. It's in a higher intelligence. You feel me? Way of whatever's going on outside of you have power over your thoughts, not what's outside. You feel me?
Thanks.
You realize that you find power, like strength. I think.
Well, to not struggle with knowing what to take from a situation without giving it too much of your energy, where
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Whatever you
absorbing
focus on is what you put in your energy on. Whatever you put your energy on grows. You feel me? So
you. Why
it's like
music? Like,
music
there's so
because
many things you could have did, man, and that I'm sure you're gonna do. But like, why music to set the tone for
create is free. It's you get to create, and it's nothing you gotta like. There's no structure behind it. That's why I like. You see my hair. Look at
Mm-hmm.
the forest. You feel me? Trees. You feel me? This is life. You feel me? It's like creativity and art is life. You feel me? It's just in different forms. You feel me? It's like frequencies and all that type of stuff. You feel me? Like that's why I love music because it's so free. You feel me? It's not conforming.
I mean, I think it complements too. Like, I mean, people think I'm crazy, but I feel like you'd understand where I'm coming from with this. But I kind of got lost in some videos maybe a couple months ago. I think the last time I hit you, and it had to do with like the plates, like in the earth, how there's like these plates, and it's like iron, and then it's like there's like a melted iron around it,
Yeah.
and the way it kind of spins is like this friction that creates the magnetic field, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting to look at yourself as an individual in a similar way, right? Because if you think you put effort into things like you working out or you're running or you charge yourself up, you're
Mm-hmm.
essentially you charging a magnet to attract things, right?
Right.
And when you start trying to grab onto things, you block a lot of space where things can stick to. So it's going to be tough to really.
The balance, like all this resistance and stuff, but it's so many dimensions that are going on right now. Like think of all the stuff you ate the past week, just combined together inside of your stomach. You feel me? Now you're not really feeling that right now because you can only be aware of one to two things at once. You feel me? So it's pretty much putting your focus on what you want to be focused on. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But you don't gotta focus. That's just a way of discipline, I guess you could say.
How difficult is it to get these ideas to become real life? Because being an artist, I know it's like the team is essential. And a lot of times, I mean, when you're talking at the levels you're talking at, I know people are just, it's over their head more times than not. Do
100%.
you have to like inadvertently be more hands-on with it? Is there like
More of
one person that understands?
a playful hands-on, because you're not. Like, when you get into that certain mode, you take things serious, and then you get irritated by people. You feel me? But you kind of gotta just watch. You feel me? Just witness and learn. You feel me? Because the more you learn, the less you know. You feel me? It's just like that's why you write things down so you can have like concepts and all different things. You feel me? Just to put together and let yourself surprise yourself.
What do you do on days that it like where you're being tested? Like, because in
I
anything
love,
that comes
I
with
love,
growth, it's a roller coaster. Like, do you have moments where it's like you're almost taken back and have to kind of stop everything, or is it always
well,
kind of this forward motion?
pretty much. It's certain people that look for what ticks them off, pretty much, and through that, it's like a compulsive thing. You feel me? But we compulsively react towards that sometimes. So what I do is instead of like trying to calm down, I pipe up because I see it as a celebration, not as like some what's gonna happen. You feel me? And I use it as an instrument instead of letting it use me as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like the thing is to not get deceived by our social institutions, but use it as an instrument. So when I see like a any type of thing that irritates me or anything when I'm too involved in whatever I'm doing, I just watch. You feel me? That's my way of letting it be, because I don't identify. I identify with the witness. You feel me?
How do you find a balance between using the clout as an instrument and not necessarily letting it become this thing that's a bad instrument in a
The
sense?
feel of enjoyment, because your mind will create a lot of things, since pleasure is pain. But what we need to realize is that pain creates this type of bliss. You feel me? And it's through like all different energies. So when I'm looking at cloud, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm not. The thing is, we get a hold. We think we need to keep up with these certain types of things, keep up with our personality, our ego, or really it's gonna come to you. You feel me? Because it happens by itself. Life happens by itself. You feel me? So with clout and stuff, I use it as like an enjoyment thing. You feel me? Just to like be with, not like when I'm seeing uh online and stuff. I'm with the people. I'm kind of like with like seeing beauty in the way it works. Kind of like if you see like how X, he would be talking on his stories and stuff, and there'd be people like suicidal people that would reach out to him and be like, "Yo, this just saved my life." You feel me? And them small things is what connects the bigger picture. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
and through that, I feel like that's where I use clout as an instrument. You feel me? But an instrumental tool in a way.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough balance because it's like, you know, you have this sense of, I guess, I don't want to say influence. It's like, for example, you have somebody you might want to work with, right? The intention, I should say, is the better word. You have an intention of like, I want to connect with this person. I want to be able to build and do something. But
Mm-hmm.
so it's like you have an agenda, you know, but it's not a negative agenda. It's a positive
Yeah,
agenda that all
exactly.
around could benefit everybody.
Yeah. You ever heard of being genuine fake?
I I get the concept, I guess, but break it down. Talk to me. What's up?
Pretty much like when you're working together with a group of people, usually,
Hmm.
or whatever your environment, you kind of, it's a thing where it's not really coming from here. It's the external. You feel me? But through that, no, pretty much through that, you develop a sense of maturity. You feel me?
Hmm.
And it's not fake, but it's more like helping. You feel me? Your intent,
Yeah.
if your intentions are good, that's all that matters. You feel me? It's just you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become.
Well said. What happens though, right? When your intention is positive, you're trying to do the right thing, and maybe the other person doesn't see it on that same level. Do you get frustrated ever with that, or is it like,
Yeah. So everything that irritates us about another can lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves.
mhm,
So when that does happen, it's a pause. It's just, it's not right or wrong. It's just chill out. You feel me? So
mhm.
you could be able to let nature work that out for you. If that makes sense.
Do you get frustrated? Because I could say I definitely do, and I've worked on it a lot and came a long way. But the older generation in hip hop and in music, I think, is very removed and almost a different genre in itself of what happens with the youth, because the youth goes really off vibes where I think the old school is kind of more like systematic in it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Definitely, but they
frustrate you
need
at
each
all?
other. That's what they forget. Like it's like this. That
Yeah,
makes, feel me? And it happens by itself. It's like pretty much the OGs and stuff, like that structure that they created, we need that so we can keep our sanity in a way. You feel me?
yeah,
But on the other side, we need the kids and stuff so we can have real joy and positivity in our lives. You feel me? So it's like a recycling between us
yeah.
all. You feel me? That's how I see, like through a perspective of creativity at least. That's how I see
I, I've definitely learned that too. Like, because I mean, when I was doing stuff with Hot 97, I was there maybe 4 or 5 years. I seen a couple instances where people were very critical of like Kodak or X, and
it.
me being on the flip side, it's like, you know, I can't kind of came up while I was in a group home, like kind of understood. I was in the streets for a minute, and then I lived with really rich people, and I understand where some of these things that happen are just like more misunderstandings than they are with evil intention. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you see certain things that are squeaky clean, that are like mainstream, and it's the most evil-ish ever. And then
Yeah.
you see kind of somebody that's innocent and struggling getting just nonstop judged, and you don't really embrace that evolution that could come from that.
No, yeah. Beauty and the Beast teaches us a good lesson. You gotta love the beast so it can be lovable. You feel me?
Well
And
said.
we all beasts if we look at our nature of enjoyment and stuff. You feel me? It's natural.
How do you plan to influence the way? I mean, clearly everybody's on like pays attention to what you do and pays attention to the stuff that you
Yeah.
contribute culturally, but how do you plan to really bridge that gap and help people understand that, like, I'm Matt Ox and I'm not necessarily just a blue check mark and
Yeah.
following like something that I think a year from now you guys might understand, or 2 years, 5 years, like,
I
because
could show them the door, but they gotta open it themselves because any of that is their own for me. But pretty much it's just through. I want to connect with them. You feel me? Connect with the people through subliminal messaging, whatever gets to them. You feel me? However it does, it will. You feel me? It's just that act of faith in the unknown. You feel me? Because truly, it's like I want people to be able to be passionate about their own life, not like take a hold of your own life. You feel me? See that these trees and these birds, they not serious. They celebrate it. You feel me? They really just experiencing profound things. You feel me? Like experience your own creativity and your own art in a profound way. Be fully engaged in what you're doing now. You feel me?
do you go back and listen to your music? Are you somebody that
I
like,
do,
okay.
and it surprises me a lot. It's like what I want to do actually is mix all my old music with new music and create different characteristics of Maddox. You feel me? And just all different types of things, bro. I got a lot of concepts just flying.
I'm sure. I don't know, you don't feel free to not say any names, but I know a lot of people that are older that I know along the way we've seen make certain mistakes.
For
Have you
sure.
ever reached out to somebody that's maybe a little older, maybe that has made a mistake, and give them some good advice and they maybe don't understand it, or do they take it when you give them the advice?
So I mean, it's it's a sense where it's not really it's the mind. You feel me? Because the mind always
Mhm.
acting like it knows what it's talking about. You feel me? Now there's nothing wrong with that because it could be a good servant through that. You feel me? But it's a terrible master. Like it it don't always know what it's talking about to the experience. You feel me? And when we get into those like other people that like I talk to family members and stuff about this type of stuff, but they so like I would say there's nothing wrong with being conditioned because everybody's conditioned, but
Yeah.
we're all conditioned into like certain religious ways of seeing things, certain uh, beliefs, social constructs. You feel me? But we got to use that in a way to enjoy it. You feel me? And not
Yeah.
get deceived. You
See,
know?
I feel that, because I mean, not for nothing, you brought up X before, but I feel like he was a dude that a lot of people would publicly be like, I hit X and he gave me this advice and it's like changed my mentality. And
Exactly.
I feel like you're a similar dude, but I think even more so, like, if I'm a kid that's rapping, I'm in, maybe before 30, I'll reach out to X. I feel like you could give advice to 50, 60-year-old people, like,
Yeah, yeah.
just regular life advice. Is that
Well,
something you even care to take the time to do, to talk to people that's like that
I
far
definitely,
beyond?
I definitely want to. I was actually thinking about like doing therapeutic and like just learning how to explain myself better because I'm very involved in like a lot of rascality. Uh, you feel me? And you get very bizarre. You feel me?
Yeah,
So it's pretty much just being a sage, bro. It's like uh, you are what you do, not what you say you're gonna do. You feel me?
thanks.
So with OGs and stuff, it's like the best advice to an OG, you feel me? Live your life. Don't try to like control things in the past. You feel all this intensity inside of you created by the past. can go away. You could become
Yeah.
just by being a simple observer. You feel me? Just by being aware of your thoughts, not judging them, just simply being aware in the moment.
That's it. You gotta accept like the natural evolution too. I think like
Yeah,
that's the big.
acceptance is the only way change will happen. Condemnation is not liberating; it oppresses.
How did you get into the fashion? Because I feel like fashion is a form of expression, but not necessarily the form that goes in sync with all of the things that we're used to you speaking on.
Mm.
Was that an accident, or is that something you've always kind of liked?
It was an accident, but it came through art because I'm very intrigued by art. I love art. I'm very interested in it too because I just see it everywhere. Like everything is art to me. You feel me? So when I would when I was just putting all my creativity together, pretty much, I would see how the fashion and the music all comes together because it's pretty much just design. Like it's complex design and like pattern of frequency and art and all that type of stuff mixed together. That's how I see fashion, at least. You feel me? And
Yeah,
that's where I feel like you could create crazy things with like if you just open your mind to it. You feel me?
well, it's such
It's
an
like,
effortless approach at like such a strong statement. You know, like I mean,
yeah,
same with the
exactly.
music, I guess, but like to just be so like I rock my Chinatown Market today because I was like I
Uh,
see you rocking the Chinatown Market. One thing
no,
I love about
yeah,
them,
that's exactly what it is.
there's no
It
method
is.
to the madness. It's like they
That's
woke up.
why Cardi and all them, they just be chilling and they able to just flow and be fly all the time and just have that keep up with it pretty much.
It's a
They not
beautiful thing.
yeah.
I saw you talking to my guy Adam about the Drake, I guess, offered you some bread and you was like, nah. My question
Yeah,
is
I mean
why?
that was a while ago.
Well,
Why?
I mean, I'm sure people reach out every day with some bread,
I
but
say probably because um, uh, when I was in that shoe, it was like my first. I just popped off. I
okay.
think 21 Savage was trying to sign me at that time, so it was just so much going on. You get exposed, and I think I was just piped up. I don't know. I was like, my ego was there, and I was like, no, I'm more important than a Drake song. You feel me, or something like that.
Okay.
And then I
Well, my
didn't
question isn't even
tell
necessarily why turn it down because I feel like I'd have a good idea of why, and I know Adam does a lot of that for the headlines and the clips go
it.
crazy. But my question is I feel like I've met Drake maybe once or twice, and we've never had like a real conversation. But you know, you go off vibes, you go off the aura, and he's always
Mhm.
struck me as a dude that is enlightened to the the same way you are. To be honest, like I feel like very few people are enlightened to
He's
that point.
genuine. He's very genuine. Yeah.
Exactly. Would you have approached that differently if he had reached out? And have y'all ever had conversations that are just beyond music? Like have y'all had a chance to speak?
Um. Yeah. We never spoke for real. It was with his one of his peoples in his group
Okay.
OVO. I know Drake. I never met for real. I stay away from a lot of things like that. It's just
All right.
I'm not involved in it for real. I mean, if I meet an artist, I meet him, but I never met Drake, so I don't know about his aura and all that type of
Got
stuff.
you. Yeah, I was just curious because I feel like a lot of people, they meet and they want to take the picture and that. Like, I
Yeah.
never took a picture or nothing with him. I've just always kind of been curious about picking his brain. And
Right.
obviously, I'm in a different position than you are, but I feel like you're somebody that would be able to have a really productive conversation with that guy and a lot would
Yeah,
come
definitely,
from it.
definitely. A lot of people. I mean,
um,
I really want to connect with more artists and just like learn about the nature of all that type of stuff. You feel me? It's beautiful in its own ways. You feel me?
it,
All
it
that stuff.
it's a blessing and a curse because as
Oh
some
God.
I've met tons of artists and I got into this because I saw mixtapes and the music spoke to me and I really was just like I love Nas, I love M, like I really wanted to pick their brains. And as time goes on, you realize, a lot of these people, that substance that comes out in music isn't necessarily conscious at all. It's just something
Right.
that's so deeply hidden that they don't even realize how woke they are.
I'm not gonna lie though. A lot of it is conscious unconsciousness. So
Yeah.
you unconscious so much that you become conscious of your unconsciousness. And through that, you get in this big contradiction. You start blaming things and all that. So there's nothing wrong with people that blame things because it's wishy-washy language. You feel me? It's here and there. At the end of the day, you going to do it. You human. You going to hate. You going to love. You feel me? So my favorite 2 albums that just dropped was the Future one
All right.
and the Lil Yachty one. They snapping.
Okay.
But Future had a bar. He was like, "Can't enjoy life unless it's toxic." That's a fact.
Thanks. No, it's true, but you learn a lot from that toxicity. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing too. I was gonna ask you, and you feel free not to answer, but coming from Philly, obviously a lot of music comes out of Philly, straight out the hood.
Yeah.
You don't seem like you grew up in the hood, but more maybe a little bit removed from it, like where you could understand, but still kind of look at the bigger idea.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Well,
Like,
I see it like this. I grew up in Longcrest, Northeast. You feel me? And down there, it was like I'm right across. I had the block where it was a nice block type
I,
thing. I mean, and my grandma lived with my mom. I had like a full house. I was living with like 8 people. You feel me? But it was weird because like my shoes, I was around a lot of crazy. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It was an external thing still. You feel
yeah,
me? Yeah, but it's a part of me still, if that makes sense. It's one of my own nature. It's
yeah.
still it's nothing I look at like separate from. It's almost like I'm with them. All the people that I be around. They the same people I was from back then. You feel I'm with them. It's not like
Well, when
I
you're young,
I don't try to keep my guard up. It happens by itself.
I feel like you gravitate naturally to stuff. Like when you're a kid, especially when you're a kid that's in a little bit maybe more suburb, but you don't feel the same as the kids that's kind of like, because it's very, I feel like the more rich and the more wealthy people are that I've been around, the less conscious they are of like struggles and the less they really assess things. They kind of
Yeah,
feel
it's
like they
about
got it
trusting
figured
your
out.
instinct for
Yeah,
like it's moving with the people. You feel me? Not against. Moving with your environment, not against it. You feel
mm.
me? I mean, you can move against it sometimes. That's human, but it's just it's
Well,
just about being open to new ways of seeing things.
it's different magnets, you're gonna get
Yeah.
pulled towards certain things.
Mhm.
So what are you working on? I seen you just dropped this visual, which I don't know if people really understand how lit this is until maybe a year from now after
Mhm.
6ix9ine wears the whole thing out and it becomes this like disingenuous vibe. But I mean, obviously you trust in the timing of your life and dropping what feels right. But what are your thoughts moving forward? And have you ever considered trying to like I go back to the future to some extent, like where you're so far ahead that you're like, should I be watering this down a little bit, or
I know
like,
what
how
you're
do
saying.
you justify this stuff in your head?
Pretty much, I've been practicing not justifying it. Pretty much, like justifying the unbalance of it. You feel me? Simply like getting used to just not being so worried about what's gonna happen in the future. You feel me? Kind of uh, being more focused and engaged on the creation of it, and then letting my creations surprise me instead of focusing on what I'm creating. You know what I'm trying to say?
For sure. It's interesting, man, because like as time goes on, I feel like it's gonna catch up. Like at a certain point, you're gonna create something that catches up perfectly with culture, and then it's just like boom.
Well, that's how all art works. You feel like a lot of art works. It's just that risk.
For
You
sure.
feel me? It's active faith is that act of trust in the unknown and then let it go. You feel me? So whatever you do, just do it with all your energy. Like Nike said, just do it.
Yeah, is that the goal though? Like, is the goal to just be kind of in a place that's like, I'm accepting no matter what? Like, is the goal enlightenment or is the goal, some sort of level of success, I guess?
No, it's now. It's here. Because tomorrow never comes. You feel me? And it's like, the goal would be enlightenment to a perspective. The goal would be money to a perspective. But it's all letting them perspectives be and letting yourself deserve more. You feel me? So how I see it is just living, embracing life, bro. Cause it's like I don't know when I could check. I don't know when is the last time I could be here. You feel me? So I just it's being gratitude for your blessings and just with what you got. You feel me? Not what you want. You feel me? But at the same time, that dying desire inside of you is what creates your passion for to work. Like the same people that could sit back and do nothing all day is the same people that when they're inside of that work ethic can do it for hours and just be engaged in making concepts and doing all these things. It's just because they got that patience, kind of, I guess you would say.
For sure. It's tough though, man. It's a very difficult balance, I feel like, because
Yeah,
you always kind of want to just go with the flow and act naturally. There's a lot of people that get frustrated with that. And it's like the patience to be able to follow through on it relentlessly, whether it adds or takes away the
yeah,
external stuff is very tricky.
yeah. It's pretty much letting your infernos like and compulsive, just being with it. Like stop taking it so serious. Like
Yeah.
almost like I said, it's a celebration. So it's a static. It's quick with it. You feel me? It's always moving, whatever you want to call it. You feel me? So it's pretty much just letting it take you like a kid again, almost. How a kid would look at life. You feel me? Like just flowing with whatever. You feel me? Not trying to flow, but letting the flow take him.
How do you do with music? Like I'm not gonna take too much more of your time, but when it
Oh
comes
yeah,
to music, I feel like you're a guy that you'll go to the studio today, record something, and it's coming out today. Like just
yeah,
because you don't sit
yeah.
on stuff. Do you sit on
Kind of
stuff?
like
Is there
it's an architect type. It's an architect type of thing. You feel me? Because you creating and designing your own type of genres of music through just new ways of seeing music, bro. Is crazy. Like music is alive, bro. To me, at least. Like, yeah.
it's
So
just I can't imagine, man, like just being in your shoes, bro, because you're one of the few kids that I mean, one of the only kids, if not the only kid I've spoke to on this level that gets it and doesn't get lost in it.
that's
At the
love,
same
bro.
time, I can't imagine trying to push what you're trying to push because the support has to be so confused. Like I can't imagine the team being able to keep up with all of this. And it's like to be able to take a lead role so young is like I mean, how the heck do you do it, bro? Is wild.
All I'm gonna say, bro, love. You feel me? And passion. Passion over power. Like that.
Well
That's
said.
how I do it. Love.
So you have no idea what you're going to work on today. You just wake up, meditate, eat your acai bowl, go right to the studio. That's the
I just do me, bro. I trust my intuition. You feel me? I trust my instinct, and I move with. I pay attention to the nature of just my own being and my own life and my career and stuff.
well, you
All them
doing
types of
well,
shit.
and I gotta say, it's like of everybody I've spoke to, I could talk to you for hours and hours, and I know
So,
your time is very expensive, but I appreciate you taking the
okay,
time to
definitely,
talk to me today.
we got talk. You know, my DM's open.
For
Uh,
sure.
just text my DM. You know, we definitely gonna get it.
Did you watch any of the Krishnamurti?
Christian Martin.
Go check your DMs. I sent you something a while back. I think you'd like that.
I got hope for sure. Definitely.
Will Smith put me on. I was watching one of these videos where he was talking. He's like, I think Krishnamurti said it best. I got lost. I feel like you'd enjoy
Okay,
it.
yeah. Let
But
me on, bro. You
for sure,
definitely on.
bro. Anything I should be checking for too, please let me know. And I really appreciate
Definitely.
the time. Send love to my Dukes and
Sure.
have a great day in the
100%.
stew, bro.
Thank you, bro. For sure. It was nice talking to you, man. We
You too.
definitely gonna lock in too. Just text my DM.
All right, sounds good, my brother. Have a great day.
You
Matt Ox,
too.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
good. How are you?
All good. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having him.
Nah, anytime. I've been looking forward to speaking with him for a while because a lot of these kids are not on that same conscious level. It's like incredible
Yeah,
to see.
we talk every night about this stuff.
I love it. It's necessary, and he's gonna change the world for real. Like I'm telling you, at a certain point, they're gonna catch up. They're getting there.
Yeah, I think so too.
100%, bro.
For real. Give me
Appreciate
a lot of hope,
it.
yo. And you doing a great job running him around. Being momager is not easy, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Much love. I've met many of them, and they do not do it as well. You got a great kid, for real.
Thank you. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
See you.